Four side hustles for early birds and night owls, and some pay as much as $100 per hour, according to this article. And to be frank, I think this article is probably going to be clickbait. So let's get into it. Google tips on the best morning routine, and you'll find an array of suggestions. Set an intention for the day, do some exercise, meditate. Every successful entrepreneur or even celeb has their secret for starting the day off right. Same goes for nighttime with suggestions including no alcohol, no work in bed, avoiding TV right before sleep, and so on. So whatever your post wake up or just before bed activities are, if you're an early bird or a night owl, you'll likely start or end the day with lots of energy. And for those interested in side hustles, this could be the perfect time to make a little extra cash. Here are 4 gigs for early birds or night owls to consider. Number 1, tutoring. If you like helping kids or adults improve language, math, and other skills, consider picking up some tutoring gigs, says Kathy Christoph, CEO and editor of SideHustle.com. Well, let's actually see what SideHustle.com actually is. Oh, okay. So SideHustle.com is like basically a blog about side hustles. Okay, interesting. And it was actually really crazy too. You'd think like a website like this wouldn't be making much money, but take for example, let's see, pennyhoarder.com. I, oh, not hoard, hoarder. Hold on. Penny hoarder. That should be it. Yeah, thepennyhoarder.com. Right? This website, which isn't too different than that side hustle website in terms of like looks and whatnot. This website, thepennyhoarder.com, the person who made it sold it for $100 million. And all it is listicle articles. Think about that for a second, right? So maybe if you want to do like a side hustle, maybe create your own blog. Let's see. Continue reading. Some parents might look for tutoring slots before their kids go off to school. For example, an adult in different time zones could match up with your morning schedule. Sites like Amazing Talker and Wyzant offer the opportunity to teach virtually and set your own schedule and rates. Amazing Talker focuses on mastering a language orally or in writing. Languages span the gamut and include English, Korean, German, and Arabic. Tutors can make between 16 and $100 per hour, according to the site, and Wyzant tutors teach a variety of school subjects such as algebra, physics, and reading. They often made between $25 and $100 per hour, according to SideHustle.com. So keep in mind that both sites charge a fee. Amazing Talker between 15% and 30% on Wyzant. Oh no, Amazing Talker is 15 and 30%, and Wyzant is 25%. Interesting. Now I do know that tutoring can make you a lot of money, but you gotta find a way to actually get customers reliably. Parking lot cleanup. If you like moving around and don't mind menial tasks, sweeping up litter from parking lots is another one that is best done early morning or late at night when the parking lots are empty of cars, says Nick Loper, founder of Side Hustle Nation. Loper profiled a New York based hustler who's turned the gig into a 6 figure business and recommends reaching out to strip malls and property managers to see if they need the help. Typical pricing may be $300 to $500 a month, depending on the size of the lot and frequency of the cleaning, but can be consistent recurring revenue, says Loper. You can also try offering this service on sites like TaskRabbit or Handy. So here's the thing. The problem with this, one, you gotta find businesses where there's a parking lot that does tend to get dirty enough for it to be a hassle for the owner, but the owner also has to have a type of business that is making enough money to justify spending a few $100 a month for basically like a monthly recurring fee to clean it up, right? So for example, like maybe the parking lot of a grocery store, maybe you could charge a few $100s per month for that to just make sure that you come by like every weekend to clean it up, right? Or maybe charge even more depending on the size of the grocery store and come there every other day or something like that, right? But that's the problem with this type of thing. Like it's not too different than like let's say having a lawn care company and you have like you're charging basically customers with their homes like $100 a month, $200 a month to just come by every weekend and just do all the yard work and knock it out. So every week it looks like it's freshly cut, which it is, right? So every week it looks good. So that's the way that you would probably have to structure it to actually make sense. But again, like how well are you going to be able to pull this off, right? I don't know. But making $100 like an hour, eh, you'd have to really scale up. Hospitality staff. If you like working with people, plenty of events and restaurants could use your energy late into the night. Food service can be a late night gig, with many bars and restaurants in big cities staying open until midnight or 2 a.m., says Christoph, adding that event staff at music venues also tend to stay late for cleanup even if the concert is over at 11 o'clock at night. Find late night hospitality gigs on sites like Quick and Jit Chat Joe, or reach out to your local stadiums and restaurants to see if they need the help and how to get involved. Hustlers who find work on the aforementioned websites can expect to get a minimum wage to about $30 per hour, says Christoph. I feel like that might be too high, but who knows? I like maybe it just depends on the area, like the specifically the location, the timing, but I don't know. This seems kind of a lot for that. Elder care. Elder care is becoming an increasingly big issue, says Christoph. With the baby boomer generation getting older and older, and more of them needing either full time help or help at nighttime, if you love hearing stories of bygone days and have a soft spot for seniors, consider offering your early morning or nighttime services on sites like care.com. The site will ask what you're most interested in doing, with options including meal preparation, errands, and light housekeeping. You can set your rates from $15 to $50 per hour, but remember, you'll need to pay $15 to $17 per year for a background check according to sidehustle.com, or $9 per month for a membership. Yeah, see, I don't really like these side hustles, to be honest, because the problem is, I think like a side hustle, right, is something that you should really be trying to aim for in terms of like doing it and getting money pretty much immediately, right? You put in the time and you get the money back right then and there, right? I feel like that's the better way for to structure a side hustle. Like there's nothing wrong with you trying to set something on the side, but it ends up turning into like an actual business where you can actually make a full-time living from that, etc. But in terms of just like getting money quick without too much hassle, I feel like there's a lot better options out there that could also pay you probably way more. Like for example, you could probably do Uber depending on your location and probably make a few $100 like Friday night, Saturday, maybe Sunday, right? Because I remember a conversation I had with someone where they would do Uber Friday night and Saturday, and within that like day and a half time basically in terms of like what they did, like a few hours technically, like a few hours Friday and then Saturday, all Saturday, they would bring in about 250, Now, of course, Friday night is pretty risky because you might end up having someone puke in your car, etc. But at the same time, like that's some pretty good money for that short amount of time frame. But that's something that you should probably aim for in terms of like a side hustle. You shouldn't be like aiming for like, oh, can I build up this whole thing? Can I try to start getting sales, etc. No, like what can I do to get money quick right now, right then and there, because I need to make money right now, right? And here's the thing, depending on your job too, it might just be better to work overtime if that's available to you because you can make time and a half or even double time depending on how they structure it, right? Like I remember seeing something where like a guy was paid basically minimum wage. Like that's technically the pay on his, employee thing. But the way that the scheduling worked out was that like 90% of his time was overtime and a half. So he was making really good money every week just because of how they structured the scheduling for him. Because even though he was working like a normal week in terms of like hours, like 40 hours, the way that it was structured with his scheduling, because it's just for some reason some like warehouses or factories the way that they structure things are super weird. So with the way that they structured his, he was making time and a half basically 90% of the hours that he worked. So he was making really good money compared to other people doing the same exact job. So it's just kind of funny, but sometimes just working overtime is better for you. Maybe working in the same industry is better for you. Maybe just getting a part-time job is literally better for you, right? Some people are just too obsessed with side hustles instead of like, hey, I need to make some quick money fast to pay off some bills, to pay some debt, or maybe even just save up for something like a nice car or like down payment for a house. I just need to make some extra money quick. What can I do? Work overtime or get a side job. That's probably the best route instead of these like weird side hustle things that like basically make no sense. And I'm kind of disappointed that CNBC basically had this. Like it's basically clickbait. You'd pretty much waste your time trying to get any of these things started, right? But it's also kind of like annoying too, right? Like sidehustle.com basically makes money just talking about side hustles. Um, let's see. Side Hustle Nation is also basically the same thing, probably. Yeah. See? Side Hustle Nation, amplify your earnings power. Ba 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 ba. Yeah. Basically the same thing. Feel free to give your thoughts. If you want to learn how to get out of debt and learn how I got out of debt and grew my net worth, go down below or go to 40inbox.com. But wow, such garbage side hustles.